from New Jersey. What's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Bam is still saying better. I appreciate you. Keep giving me feedback. Thank you so much. Right, coming to you right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Jamie Burr is listening on the headset. Chris is saying it's better. Not that great. What do you mean not that great, Chris? You're not having a good morning? You're always in a good mood, man. I appreciate you. What unit is it, Kyle? Right now it says minus 6.1, and it's almost hitting the red, but I'm like getting into the yellow. Does that sound fine? Test 1 2. Test 1 2. All right, let's continue to roll. We talked about Justin Hill. Okay, so this is very interesting. Okay, all right, let's make a cut right here. Today is June 17th through the 19th. Alabama has some incredible prospects on board. All right. A little fuzzy on your mic, Kyle. Okay. All right. We're gonna look at all the mic stuff after. Now we're gonna continue to get better. So the goal by Friday will be to have everything tightened up. June 17th, you have Khalil Lockett, who's a 5-star wide receiver out of the state of Texas. Okay. He's going to be on board in terms of like on campus. All right. You get him. You should be green and just a little yellow. All right. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test. Khalil Lockett, 5-star wide receiver out of Texas, is going to be here like today through the 19th. Why is this important? Well, you want wideouts on board. And one of the guys that we really haven't hyped up enough is Jamarcus Shepard. Jamarcus Shepard is the big wide receiver. Jamarcus Shepard is your wide receivers coach that wants these wide receivers to be absolute takers, okay? So you get him on board, and I think you pair him with the idea that Keelan Russell, who's also from Texas, has committed. And you show him that you show him what the entire quarterback room, okay? Because now you have Keelan Russell, you have Austin Mack, you have Dylan Lonergan, you have Ty Simpson, you have Jalen Miro, right? I'm not going to play with Jalen Miro, but you look at the other quarterbacks on board. And you look at the wide receiver mentality, right? All right. R.A. Mac, hit me up. nmpreps@gmail is my nmpreps@gmail.com. Hit me up, and we can do audio together. I appreciate you, man. nmpreps@gmail.com. And the Tyler Lockett vibe, it's Khalil Lockett out of Texas. I don't think, like, you look at the wide receivers that Alabama has on board, they're absolutely phenomenal this year. They are unproven, I would say. I mean, we got a little bit of a taste of Jeremy Bernard. We know that we know what Kobe Prentice can do. Kendrick Law really hasn't had his time to absolutely shine through, but I think in time those guys are going to do their things. And then you look at the younger wide receivers, my goodness. I mean, Ryan Williams, Latsier Brooks, Amari Jefferson, Rico Scott, Caleb Odom. That's look, I think, let me ask you this real quick, okay? Who catches for more yards this coming season, Ryan Williams or Caleb Odom? Sound off inside the comment box. Talking about Khalil Lockett, we got a couple more prospects to go through, and as news happens, I got you covered right now on Bama Football on YouTube. Who catches for more yards, Ryan Williams or Caleb Odom this coming season? I think that's a tough question to answer, to be honest. I would probably say Caleb Odom. I don't know. I go back and forth. Okay. You also have Caleb Edwards, who is a 5-star tight end out of Mississippi. Mississippi has the number 1 running back in the country, and you also have an elite 5-star in Caleb Edwards. You also just had on board Landon Simmons, who committed to Alabama as well. Everybody is saying Ryan Williams is going to catch more yards. Okay. Yeah, I've been overcorrected. If you're on the rewatch, let me know as well. What do you think, Ryan Williams or Caleb Odom? Who will catch more passes? James Cloud is saying Odom. Odom's here. Ryan Williams just got here in the summertime. But Ryan Williams is that guy. I appreciate your feedback inside the comment box. Thank you. So you have 2 5-stars on board the 17th through the 19th. Those guys will, of course, get the red carpet treatment. They'll be with Ryan Williams. They'll get to see the NASCAR. Who knows if they bring in Roll Tide Willie? I have no idea. But whatever they are selling, I'm buying. I'm loving it. I think Jamarcus Shepard, we probably haven't hyped him enough yet because we've been talking about Mo Lindquist on the defensive side of the ball. But I think Shep can close the deal on some big-time prospects for sure. So Khalil Lockett and Kyle Edwards, both in town 17th through 19th. Okay, quick update on Ivan Taylor. This is a prospect that we are watching out of the state of Florida. He is currently committed to Notre Dame. He is a safety. Alabama has 0 prospects from the state of Florida. What does that mean? Well, they have no prospects from the state of Florida. That doesn't mean panic. And someone brought up a really good point inside the comment box on one of my videos. They're talking about Miami, Florida State. Florida, that's Billy Napier. That's Mike Norvell. That's Mario Cristobal, right? You also have Gus Malzahn, right? He's at Central Florida. So a lot of those guys are keeping the Florida prospects in state. I'm just curious to see if Alabama can still make a run at Ivan Taylor. I think they can in the safety position. Let's talk about one particular prospect that was in Athens, Georgia, and that is Dejoun Lee. Okay, Dejoun Lee is one of the top prospects, if not the top prospect in the state of California. I believe he will announce on the 21st or the 23rd. Undefeated, will you let me know? Undefeated is the comment box. Will Dejoun Lee commit on the 30th or, I'm sorry, on the 21st or the 23rd? Give me his commitment date. Anyways, he was just in Georgia. And look, this is interesting. Pay attention to this. Let me have a drink of coffee. Talking to Dejoun Lee. All right. This is an interesting quote. He said that he wants a coach. He wants a coach, not a friend. And he was like, other places, this is what he said. He was quoted on saying this. Other places, the coaches don't cuss. And he wants a coach, not a friend. And I thought that was really interesting because, he's a 28th. So Dejoun Lee is committed in 28th. Thank you, B family. We appreciate you. I'm going to write that down so I remember it. Thank you very much. So he said that he wants a coach, not a friend. And then he said, some coaches out there don't cuss. I was like, well, what coach doesn't cuss? Well, that was one of the sound bites from the spring was that Coach Kalen DeBoer doesn't cuss. And he was like, I want somebody who isn't soft. Now, I think I don't think he was throwing shade at Alabama at all. I think he was just, giving a quote. But I think that's what's happening is a lot of people, because Saban, he was like, he had that alpha mentality. Not to say that Kalen DeBoer doesn't. But he came off and maybe tough to talk to. People were scared of him. That was kind of like some of his demeanor. With Coach Kalen DeBoer, I think he's more approachable. I think he is probably easier to talk to. So people are seeing that as soft. Well, we haven't seen him in actual game action, right? And I'm sure it's going to be pretty hard to lay off the swear words come SEC games, okay? So I don't take his niceness for him being soft, and you shouldn't either. And I think that he'll be able to showcase that when he does speak to some of these recruits. And when you talk to the players, they love playing for him so far. And I know it's early on. This is the honeymoon period, but they love what they got going on. 150 watching. Hit the thumbs up. I appreciate you. Matthew, what's going on, man? I appreciate you. What are my thoughts on the new DN commit? Well, Landon Simmons. I think I say Landon because of Landon Dickerson. Landon Simmons. He committed. And I looked at kind of the fact that I see him as a 3-star on 3. I see him as a 4-star. I'm not worried about his particular star ranking because when I look to defensive tackles that are coming to Alabama, I look at them as usually guys that it's going to take them some time to get onto the field and really developed into how a defensive tackle should be. I think it's hard for a defensive tackle to just come in, step in, and play. Let me ask you something. For those that have been following Alabama football for longer than I have, longer than 8 years, has there ever been a defensive tackle, or maybe list some, that has played immediately as a true freshman? A couple of the guys that I think about most recently, and I didn't do a lot of research on this, I'm just thinking from the last couple of years, Jaheim Otis and Tim Keenan. Each of those guys were monsters, way too heavy at the high school level, and they had to come over here and develop themselves. Now you look at Tim Keenan as probably one of the most underrated defensive tackles in college football. Honestly, he's that good. He was chasing down Jackson Dart last year of Ole Miss. I'll never forget it. And Jaheim Otis, he probably lost a little bit too much weight. But don't forget about Jaheim Otis as well. I know he got banged up with a shoulder injury, but I think in terms of like Landon Simmons, I think it's going to take him some time to, get his body ready to be a defensive tackle that can contribute. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But as I'm talking, is there anybody? I love Landon Dickerson too. He was one of my favorites. Devontae Smith is my all-time favorite player to cover. Landon Dickerson is probably like my favorite player in terms of like interviews, and he just didn't give a about. Landon Dickerson is the truest form of like being yourself. There was no like fake identity or like putting on a face. Like Landon Dickerson is the same dude today, and same thing with Devontae Smith. A lot of people are talking about Devontae Smith, that he just bought like a $700,000 modest house, which is modest for him. But what people don't know is that he just bought an even smaller house on a ranch, like or like on like a really big piece of property in Louisiana. Humble cats, but like truly themselves. Those are called men, right? But I can't think about any defensive tackles that were able to get in and play early. And I'm not knocking on Alabama's newest commitment at all. I'm just saying, for defensive tackles, usually it takes them some time. Jonathan Allen. Did Jonathan Allen play right away as a freshman? Jonathan Allen, yeah, technically, man, beast, right? My favorite is Malachi Moore. Malachi Moore is the quintessential piece of an ambassador for the University of Alabama. I think he is probably the second best ambassador for Alabama, following maybe the third best after Bryce Young and Minkah Fitzpatrick, because those guys really exemplified leadership and exemplified like what it meant to be a member of the Alabama Crimson Tide, right? Like those guys were just such great examples. You know, they called Minkah Fitzpatrick Saban's son because he was perfect. Jimmy is saying, is Landon Simmons kin to the other DL that went to Mississippi State? I don't know about that. Pam is saying nobody talking about Malachi. Yeah, and you're right. Nobody is talking about. I mean, I think you're getting a little bit of Malachi, but look, he's the only returning player within the secondary, right? Keon Sabb, new. Damani Jackson, new. Deshaun Jones, new. Right? All the pieces are new except for Malachi Moore. And so him being kind of the staple and the leader within that secondary, I think he's going to have a monster season. He had a monster season last year. The guy's been good since he got here. There was just a year that he kind of had to, ride the pine or play behind Brian Branch because Brian Branch went absolutely crazy. And the Lions, by the way, loading up on Alabama football players. I love to see it. Look, I follow the 49ers, but I know the Detroit Lions, man, them getting Terrion Arnold, huge addition. Now, by the way, I just saw Terrion Arnold. He's probably actually one of my favorite players to cover, too, Terrion Arnold. So many great guys to be able to go out of here. PK205 is saying Josh Chapman, Allen, and Payne. Oh, yeah, Deron Payne, man. But I can't remember if those guys were able to play like right from the jump from a defensive tackle. Deshaun Jones or Zabian Brown, I think they rotate at the corner position. What's up? I appreciate you inside the comment box. Don't want to butcher your username. I think that's going to be a damn good battle. I think Damani Jackson is probably slated as a corner, but I think Zabian Brown and Deshaun Jones will go at it. Just because Deshaun Jones physically played at the ACC doesn't mean that you just come over here and you take the spot of a freshman who is, I guess, maybe listed as a starter. I don't know. But I think that's going to be a hell of a battle. I think there's a lot of competition. I think there should be competition at every single position. There has to be. Competition makes every single thing so much better. 1,000,000%. So to recap today's morning show, we went over Alabama's newest commit, Landon Simmons. We talked about who will be next, and we feel that is going to be Jackson Lloyd, a 6'6" offensive lineman out of California. We talked about the fact that Ackland Deer was here, the number one running back out of Mississippi who's committed to Ole Miss. He was here. We talked about the fact that Luke Metz, even though he was seen with Kirby Smart, still a Roll Tide, 100%, 1,000%. Antonio Coleman said the same thing after visiting with Hugh Freeze in Auburn. Justin Hill, guy was loving it in the locker room, right? Could he be an Ohio State lean? Maybe at this point. Be curious to see how he feels following leaving Alabama. I know his mom loves Tuscaloosa. Today through the 19th, you have Khalil Lockett, a 5-star wide receiver out of Texas, and you have Caleb Edwards, a 5-star tight end out of Mississippi. Those guys, 2 5-stars in Tuscaloosa. You have we're keeping our eyes on Ivan Taylor. He's a safety out of Florida who is committed to Notre Dame. He was actually back in South Bend recently. And then we are also looking towards Deshaun Lee, who is announcing his decision on June 28th. He was just at Georgia, and he said that he wants a coach, not a friend. So those are the things that we are watching this week, today, right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here and starting your day with Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate your feedback, whether it's about the audio, whether it's inside the comment box, whatever it is. I appreciate you guys. And when you see news on Bama Football, think Bama Football on YouTube, because I got you covered with live breaking news when news happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. So thank you so much for being a subscriber. Thank you for watching my morning show. And how my morning shows are going, I'm on 7:30 in the mornings, Monday through Friday, and then as news happens, and then during the season, when I understand how the schedule will go, because Alabama football will now practice in the morning times, and we do have media opportunities. So I'll figure out my schedule as the season comes. But, you're going to get Kalen DeBoer's press conference. You're going to get the assistant coach's press conference. And those are the things that I'm going to go over. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys. Yesterday was Father's Day. Anybody can be a father, right? It's not hard. But it takes a real man to be a dad. So, happy Father's Day. I am a father, and that is my priority in life. And that is my greatest blessing, to be honest, is being a father to my kids. Making them breakfast is an honor, right? Putting them to bed is a blessing. So I love being a dad. I went to go see Inside Out 2 because I have a preteen daughter. And that was it was a deep cartoon. It was a Pixar cartoon. You seen this? Inside Out 2. Had a good time. And yesterday, Father's Day, man, I had a great day. Went out for a long run. Came back, grilled some chicken. And we just hung out and we chilled. We went to a couple different places. Kids got me some gift cards, and now it was great. So I hope you made time for your family, and I hope you are off to a great start today on this beautiful Monday, June 17th. The recruiting is not going to stop. So stay tuned for more recruiting news, okay? Because this cold summer, it's getting cold. I'm going to start having to wear a jacket on my shows. Feedback on the audio. Remember, if you want to give me feedback, nmpreps@gmail.com. If you guys want to become a member of this YouTube channel, I'd really appreciate it. $2.99. Hit the link above this video where it says join to support me. I appreciate you guys. And I hope you guys have an amazing Monday. As news happens, back here, right here on Bama Football on YouTube. One more time, Kyle Anderson, Bama Football on YouTube.